Holy shit. What's up, Johnny?
Here we are again.
Welcome to yet another episode of Satanic Study Hall. Your favorite podcast, and mine. Don't get it twisted. Well, is this my favorite podcast? Should it be, Johnny?
It should be.
I think it should be.
I do too.
And I'll have to update you on that. I do listen to a lot of good ones out there. All right, so class is now in session. Welcome, degenerates. You know why you're here, and if you don't, oh well, you're here anyways.
And thank you. Thank you for being here.
Dennis is, well, I don't know if he's playing hooky.
I think so, yeah.
He's just saying fuck off for the week, but it's all good. On this episode that we are titling A Personal Journey number 2. Or is it A Personal Journey 2? Should I say number 2? Dun, dun, dun. The sequel. If you joined us on Allie's episode, which was our first personal journey installment, you learned a great deal about her journey, and some cool shit that she brought to the table. This week, we are joined by Charmaine. What's up, Charmaine?
What's up?
Pleasure to have you here.
Yes,
Pleasure to be here.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And Charmaine doesn't come alone. She always brings the bean with her.
The bean is here.
We've referenced the bean.
The bean is here. The bean is always here.
Numerous episodes. So not to say every single personal journey is going to be as deep or as impactful as the last, but each one is going to bring something that I believe everybody can connect with. Just after getting to know Charmaine, you know, I really think that our listeners will be surprised.
I think they will.
Yes, and be able to come to terms with things and connect with Charmaine as she tells her story. So,
get some tissues ready.
Yes, yes. We will be, like I said, diving back into that next time. And last week, as you know, we did cover Satanic Panic Part 1, as we like to call it, or the 1980s, and how it emerged, all the crazy shit that happened, and you know, props to Dennis and Johnny for really diving into some crazy cases. It's not over, as we mentioned, and there's so much. And one of the reasons why we are pushing it off a little bit is because we want to make sure we do these topics justice. And there's some hands in this episode and some good voices that have some good opinions and takes on the situation. So we want to make sure we present the information and material as best as we can, without missing anything important or crucial to tell in the story.
Right, and I just want to say, I mean, if we do miss something, let us know. Yeah. Don't be afraid. Say, hey, you guys fucked up. You missed us.
And the easiest way to do that is satanicstudyhall@gmail.com. Or, I mean, Twitter, Instagram,
anything. Facebook to Go Farm.
We are very easy to find, and we do get a lot of crazy, awesome feedback. It's flattering. My chair is squeaky as fuck today. Y'all hear that? Gosh.
I changed desks on you.
You did?
Yeah.
Ah, son of a bitch. I knew there was a reason.
Yep.
I need some
I wanted you to have the squeaky desk.
I need some WD-40.
You're welcome.
Need some WD-40. You better be careful. I'm going to sick Belial after you.
Oh, again? Oh, shit.
That's right. Now, I got to talk to Principal Pan or whoever the study hall teacher's name is and get some WD-40 for this thing. But he's got to find my footing.
Yes.
All right. Johnny, how's your week?
My week's been slow. There's nothing exciting going on. I mean, the good thing that came out of it is my work decided that they had to clean the entire building. So I get a 3-day weekend. So I'm not work, tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
So that's always a good thing. But other than that, like I say, it's work. It's home.
Rinse and repeat. Yep. Over and over again.
Over and over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Yes, it's
the only sanity I get is practice and this podcast. And it really does help a lot.
Hail Satanic Study Hall.
Hail playing the drums too.
Oh yes, I'm sure that lets out a lot of aggression.
It does.
I always wanted to play the drums growing up.
Yeah,
I can't tell. I think it was just because my family was broke and couldn't afford any type of lessons or rentals or anything.
I used to play pillows. So,
yeah, used to play dinner tables.
Whatever.
Used to play,
I had a pair of sticks. That was it.
Oh, speaking of sticks, we were at that show the other night when we went, and they were playing with a fire.
Yeah.
And I don't know did I mention the devil sticks to you? Like how they reminded me. So they were doing fire play. They were just tossing fire, and both ends of the sticks were lit on fire and whatnot. So,
Really cool.
it looked awesome, and the weather was nice. It was, breezy. It wasn't fucking crazy hot.
Right.
But nonetheless, it reminded me of these things called devil sticks when I was a kid. I used to play with these things, and so you would have one stick in each hand, and then you would back and forth, and do tricks.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And flip them, and there'd be ribbons on each end. Yeah, I almost did that professionally. Like, I was real fucking good at one point. Like, I put it under the leg, do twists.
No
and
shit.
Be able to toss them to other people and just keep them up in the air with one
Toss
stick.
them to other people when they're on fire.
I tried lighting.
Shit!
That's the thing, is I tried lighting them on fire one time. Just for show. And it was not a good fucking idea. I lit the fucking dry leaves on fire like 4 times. It got to the point where people were like, Bill, no, you're done.
Yeah, there's actually
Like,
a
why?
video I saw that a dude was doing that. He was like working with those things, and he like flipped the shit and it went all the way over into like this haystack, and the haystack.
I've seen ones get caught on trees and like light trees on fire, but they're like 30 feet in the air because they get stuck and you can't do anything. Yeah, that shit is crazy. What about you, Charmaine? What's new with you?
Nothing, man. I'm just healing from surgery. Saying hi. A lot of weed. Help me
Yes.
through it. Help me through it. Because, like, when you're stuck in bed, you're all in your fucking head. You think about everything. Mm-hmm. But it feels good to actually get up and get out, hang with you guys.
No, we're glad you're here.
Absolutely. I got in trouble.
You got in trouble?
I got in trouble. Playing with my bean.
It happens.
They didn't like that too much.
They can't expect, nobody can expect you to ignore the bean.
Never. Never.
It reminds me of an episode of Trailer Park Boys when Ricky glued his hand to his junk by mistake. And
I've never seen that show.
no,
I've never seen one episode.
Yeah, I went 20 years, but almost 20. No, I guess it was like 17 years without seeing it. The minute it went on Netflix,
I'll check it out.
yeah, fucking bubbles. But yeah, it's good to see you out of there and out and about.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's awesome. And me, what's new with me? Halloween decorations. That's all I've been doing after work.
Awesome.
Coming home,
Yeah.
decorating the yard. Coming home, decorating the yard. It's hard to convey over a podcast, I think, but we decorate every year, and our collection just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and
Yes,
bigger.
sir.
Yes, like Johnny said over and over and over again. It's every year. There's like, oh shit. I would say another 750.
Yeah, you could probably open a store.
Oh,
Right.
easily. I mean, we do the masks I have alone. I mean, we can literally hold a ritual and have masks for fucking 15 to 20 people, and they'd all be fucking gothic and scary and dark.
And neighbors would love that.
They would love it.
Oh yeah. Well, once we get the pentagram in the yard in between the little plague doctors, that's when shit's gonna. I think that's when it's really gonna start to piss off the neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
It's different this year though, because live on a street where people and parents used to walk all their kids back and forth to school because the school's right down the street. So you'd have grandparents and parents walking their kids, and every year we get a little bit more darker and a little bit more gruesome, and I guess you could say satanic. But nonetheless, this year we don't have that with COVID.
Right.
So we're taking advantage of that. Less little kid eyes,
yeah.
Right.
a little bit more fucked up and dark, and you know what I mean?
There's nothing like somebody walking down the street, and I was here when that happened. When that young lady walked down the street, and she's like, "Hey, see, you're decorating for Halloween. It's really scary."
Yeah, and it really is.
That's how you know you're doing something right.
Exactly.
And now we have so much, though, we got to find that balance so it doesn't look like clutter and overkill.
Right.
But I don't think it'll be hard. Can't wait to get Slimer up in that tree. We are all members of the Satanic Temple.
Yes.
Or we have 2 and an upcoming member with Charmaine, I believe.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. We'll talk more about that later. But
Yes.
the Satanic Temple is sending out newsletters. And I thought, what better opportunity to talk about the September 2020 monthly newsletter
Sure.
that was put out with the Satanic Temple. There's some good stuff in here. I mean, we're going to go over it between the update with the scholarship program and their winners to poems. And there's this poem on there called On Being Punished by John S. Hall, and just artwork
Some
and
cool
whatnot.
artwork, man.
Yeah.
Some really cool artwork.
They got a segment called Tenet Study. I mean, I'm impressed. And I mean, this is good because it's hard for people, unless you're, far into social media, like Unfortunately, I have to be with the podcast. Like, you can miss a lot of the stuff. So we're going to start by talking about the winners of the Satanic Temple's Devil's Advocate Scholarship Program. We had talked about that on a couple of our Patreons, as well as one of our main episodes, I believe. A little background is the Satanic Temple, if you didn't know about it, put out a scholarship program. It ended up being where 4 winners received $666 to assist them in their plans and a trophy to commemorate their accomplishments. Now, you notice it says to assist them in their plans.
Yes.
This doesn't mean that they had to put it toward, an actual bill or books or anything. This was money to continue their education and their pursuit of what they wanted to do creatively.
It's awesome.
And this is fantastic. And some people I remember there were some haters out there about, oh, that's not a lot of money, and they're tax free now because they're a real, religion.
What are you doing?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. What have you done? The fact that this even exists, the fact that more than one person, was able to benefit from this alone,
Exactly.
is fucking awesome.
Yes, it is.
Not to mention, it inspired people to really, self-reflect and think deep about some of the things that they asked you to consider when you were submitting. Speaking of that, so one of the first things that we're looking at is from Auburn, New York. And the question was, what have you done to further the Satanic Temple's mission and tenets? They submitted a piece of artwork. It's a colored pencil drawing with coffee watercolor background. I guess this was derived on August 5th, 2020 is when this was made and submitted. This was around, I believe it was Tenet 1?
Yes. It revolves around the first tenet.
What we're looking at, and we're going to share this on the Goat Farm and social media, because stuff like this is important to pass around. And plus, it looks awesome. So there's a picture of the globe or the world, and there's coffee stains that represent like the land masses and everything. I mean, it looks awesome. There's
it does.
Yeah.
And there's other coffee stains like, in the water where the oceans would be. And around the world or the planet, it's got the first tenet going around in curvature form. The writing behind this, and I'm just going to quote right from the website or the email, written right from the artist. It says, "This piece is inspired by the Satanic Temple's first fundamental tenet. I hold a firm belief that all animal life is sacred and should be treated with respect. In my life, I have spent much time foraging for animal remains that may have been killed at the hands of humans, from roadkill, hunting, or trapping. I bring these animals home with me and give them a place in my home for them to be honored and respected in ways that they unfortunately didn't get to experience in their time on Earth. I see that these animals play a very important role in Earth's ecosystem, but have fallen victim to the cruelty and blindness of man. I hope that the spirit of the animals that I live with are able to find peace in knowing that their lives will not be forgotten."
Those last couple sentences are really powerful.
Right.
I hope that the spirits of the animals that I live with are able to find peace in knowing that their lives will not be forgotten. That's fucking powerful.
Yeah.
And that is awesome.
Yes, it is.
Right off the bat, it's the first thing that caught my attention. So if you want to see this artwork and you haven't noticed it in your email yet, definitely take a look in your email for the September newsletter. Now, the second one. Please discuss and describe in detail any one of the teachers who crushed your spirit, undermined your self-confidence, and made you hate every minute you were forced to be in school.
How much time do you got? I mean,
I really could have submitted 8 different examples on this one.
yeah, exactly.
And the fact that they're using this to inspire critical thinking and, application of the tenets and self-reflection, like, it's pretty badass. Like, who asked about a teacher that fucking pissed you off?
Right.
Yeah.
You go through all these college applications and, all this red tape to get into, higher learning, and it's all this positive shit.
Right.
Like, describe the teacher that influenced you the most, who inspired you to be the person, the man, or the woman you want to be.
Right.
Like, nah, this is it. Who pissed you the fuck off?
Yeah.
Who undermined you and made you hate every minute you wanted to be in school? So the winner of this one was Hannah Rice from Arizona. And this is about 4 paragraphs. It's important that I mention the fact that Arizona is ranked 40 out of 50 states in terms of the quality of education. This is not to say the education I received wasn't more than adequate when compared to, say, children in the Middle East. Of course, I could write a soliloquy of teenage angst targeted at some of my high school teachers that left a bad taste in my mouth. However, I think middle school's a much better place to look back on. That is, if you're feeling particularly nostalgic of the days when testosterone, estrogen, and cortisol created an Axis alliance ready to assault you from the moment you woke up. Wow. That was fucking well put.
Yeah.
How fond am I of the casual homophobia and sexual harassment exhibited by the male students? While I would be publicly humiliated for daring to show approximately 3/4 of the left of my shoulder. It truly was the golden days. The story I'm regaling for you today in hopes of receiving a scholarship is one of not so epic proportions. Allow me to set the scene. We open on a halfway dilapidated blue and white brick building. A horse is the mascot. A closeted lesbian refuses to take off a leather biker jacket in 95-degree heat. And as you know, nobody with the exception of possible sociopaths were confident in themselves at age 13. Also, it looked sick. All of my peers are either in all black or all neon clothing, and absolutely everyone has acne. Let me recount for you the morning routine. First, we all sit in our seats and chat for a couple of minutes. We have to keep our voices down, lest the teacher gets a headache. Regardless of your homeroom, you are required to do 2 things in the morning: complete a timed quiz and recite the Pledge of Allegiance.
The daily morning quiz consisted of a 2-sided math test. One side is basic multiplication, the other side asks you to solve fractions quickly. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division of fractions are all covered. You have only a few minutes to complete this. And then it's pencils down. I never did too well on them, but in the 7th grade, I wasn't the most driven pupil. Occasionally, the pledge would cut off the test short, and then it would resume. If by this point you need a refresher on the proper etiquette when pledging your allegiance to the flag, you must first stand and face the nearest U.S. flag at your disposal. As the principal or front office lady recite the pledge, you must say it in unison as well. As a symbol of respect, you must put your right hand over your heart. However, that morning, I made up my mind about not standing for the pledge. I had no particular agenda in mind. I was just questioning authority, as does one after your father introduces you to the artistic stylings of Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, fuck you, I won't do it. You tell
Yeah.
me.
I felt anxious the entire bus ride to school that morning. In the middle of trying to remember what 1/5 plus 3/4 was, the intercom sounded with a grainy voice. Please stand for the pledge. Everyone stands. I do not. I try to avoid everyone's eyes as the boy who sits in front of me whispers to me to stand. My teacher leans over close. She's in her early 60s with a conservative hippie skirt and a black turtleneck. She says, "This is the most disrespectful thing I have ever seen. Stand now." I relent my punk ways for the last verse of the pledge to stand. She tells me I have detention. The anxious feeling sits with me the rest of the day, and I wonder if my dad will be disappointed or proud. Wow.
Wow.
That's a great, great essay.
That is, and I wonder if that's an excerpt. I wonder if that's a little, it doesn't have to be any longer.
Right.
Right.
Like, that's an experience and a half of, you know what I mean? Like, talk about undermining how that sucked. Like, I mean, I get it. You have to get through your day. Fuck it. I guess I'll stand.
Yeah, we
Right.
had to do it. We had to.
Yeah. We didn't have a choice.
Well, I didn't have the balls to do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I did, but I didn't. I didn't, because that's the thing. If you start your day that way,
Yeah.
you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, you're fucked. Especially depends on the, you know, the flow of teachers that you have.
That's great, though.
Yeah, that was fantastic.
Yeah, that was good.
So the next submission that won, and it was a drawing submission. Wow.
It's awesome.
It was a submission by Hedera or Hedera Belmond from Iowa. It is this phenomenally done pumpkin man. Like, are the knees broken?
Yeah.
It looks like the knees are
With knees and
broken.
The
arms.
knees and
Yeah.
the elbows are broken. Sporting their Nikes. Maybe a little blood stained. I don't know.
I think it's like gym class or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like gym class or this like never ending hallway of despair.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Pumpkin
It's
head in hand. It's fantastic.
hugging a bigger pumpkin.
Yeah, hugging.
Right.
Yeah, it's dark. It's really super fitting. Like if we're blessed enough to have this individual listening to our podcast, hit us up.
Yes, we'd love to use your picture.
Yeah.
Let's talk business. This is beautiful. And then the next one we have,
Brilliant name.
Brilliant name.
Soda Lightful. That's Soda, and last name Lightful.
Awesome.
From North Dakota. Well done. I've never seen this. The first time I've seen those two words put together that way. So I'm going to go and say I believe this is a poem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is called 5 More Minutes. The sound of an alarm cuts through the silent air. Harsh and sharp and voice full of malice. He screams in my ears. Another day, another dollar. Another day at the hands of another. Another unending search for the unfindable. Of toil and sweat and empty words on a page. I feel the cogs slowly turn in my head as I relive the same day over and over again. The machine never stops, never slows or ceases. Wake, eat, study, sleep, repeat.
Sounds familiar.
Doesn't it? Endless cycles of force structure. Though the question echoes through the caverns of my mind that is riddled with flashcards and notes and chicken scratch handwriting. Why do we allow ourselves to cage the bird? The brain is such a beautiful thing. Her song is so lovely, a crisp melodic tune, sung softly on a gentle breeze, but yet a symphony of bells and whistles and crashing percussion, of trumpets and horns and colorful lights. We are capable of so much more. So many wondrous, creative, beautiful things. We are made for greatness. Yet, we are kept in a box, in a straight and steady line. Unmoving, unwavering. The subconscious yearns for excitement. Though never to be found in the cold gray walls of textbooks and worksheets and standardized testing, the alarm continues to blare. His harsh voice taunts me. I barely even recognize this vessel anymore. Dark circles, tired eyes. There are no colors, only gray, only shadows. Who is that? Who have I become? At the hands of the system, I have been broken into nothing more than a soulless receptacle for useless facts and bounded by the ancient texts that keep them. I rub the sore spot between my shoulders. Maybe I'll leave the books home today, or maybe I won't return at all. Maybe, just maybe, I'll hit snooze one more time and wake up in a world where education is more than just words on a paper, more than just empty words and phrases, more than just dull, empty, gray.
Wow.
Awesome.
Holy shit.
I know.
Yeah.
I want to find out what this person's real name is.
Right.
I'm going to get them to ghost write lyrics for me. Just don't have to write lyrics anymore.
Yeah, that was now, mind you, me reading that is the first time I've read that through.
Yeah.
I breezed through it before when we were doing episode prep.
Now we know what 5 more minutes means.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm impressed. Well done. Very deserving of that $666 award.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I couldn't write something like that in high school.
Yeah. and it's kind of interesting how fitting, right to, good old Satanic Study Hall. That one, and then
Right.
even the one before,
Right.
talking about that. And then
And then I never realized that.
and so technically, 3 out of the 4 are right on topic.
Yeah.
We've got the picture with all the lockers,
Yep.
whether it's like you said, it's in gym or a never-ending hallway at school, and then we have the essay that was written about the teacher that crushed their self-confidence and made you hate every minute in school, and then we had the individual with the animals in the Earth's ecosystem and taking care of the animals that men have destroyed and neglected. So that's I'm so glad that they did that.
Yeah.
I really didn't know where that was going to go. There was
Right.
a lot of people that gave it hate, but it's good to see the follow through, and I'm sure that these people are going to use that money and put it towards some more cool projects.
Yeah.
And I hope I hope it's one of those things where not necessarily a where are they now, but
Like a follow-up.
like a follow-up,
Yeah.
like, hey, what'd you do? Like, not necessarily what'd you do with the money, show me receipts. But hey, like, what are you up to in a couple of months? Like,
Right.
give us an update, show us another one of your
Definitely.
projects.
That
stuff
would be
like
awesome.
Yeah.
The next part of the Satanic Temple newsletter that they sent out is reminding us about an initiative that Grey Faction is doing. Now, this is Grey Faction, a rumor of devils. So it reminds us, and it's right on topic of what we're in the middle of discussing, the Satanic Panic. And again, I'm reading right from the newsletter. This is all available, and you can open up the newsletter, read along, check it out yourself. The Satanic Panic of the 80s and 90s was a moral panic that led to witch hunts that were targeted. Supposed Satanists were allegedly engaging in evil ritual acts. We know about this. To show the panic's human cost, Grey Faction is launching a Rumor of Devils. It's a project that will document stories of those impacted by the Satanic Panic and the impact it has had on people's lives. So currently, Grey Faction is collecting audio and video testimonials of individuals who were falsely accused of satanic ritual abuse. Now, in addition to that, they're looking for people who were targets of conspiracy theories and those who experienced false memories of ritual abuse. They ask that if you know anybody or can direct anybody to them that fits those criteria, email arumorofdevils@gmail.com. That is a rumor of devils @gmail.com.
All one word.
Yes. They will give you submission requirements and details and how you can become a part of what they say is a one-of-a-kind project. And I agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
Definitely.
really excited to see. I know on the online promotion, they had Damien Eccles right on that flyer. I'm interested. I got to do some research. I wonder if he's involved in that project.
Did they just have him as a guest, or is he actually a member of the temple?
I don't think he's a member of the temple. He might be. He might be Satanic Temple friendly. I would assume so. I know he is very into magic and the occult, and you really follow him on YouTube. Join his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
There's a couple of. I mean, it starts out with like his stories of how he survived incarceration, how he survived being alone, isolation,
Right.
and how he pushed through all that. And then it goes on to, and like he starts opening up and starts really diving into his beliefs and everything. There's a really good one about the pentagram, like explaining the history and the meaning of the 5 points.
Nice.
With the elements. It's pretty interesting.
Now I have to check that out.
The next part of the newsletter is around religious abortions. Just a little update. Now, they say that last month the temple announced that the religious abortion ritual exempts Satanists from being subject to laws that restrict access to abortions during the first trimester, and states they have enacted the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. There is a lot of confusion around this, a lot of different versions, a lot of people throwing misinformation around about this. Now, it is an uncomfortable topic to talk about. Their introduction and teaser video about this topic wasn't necessarily the most flattering.
Right.
Hail the temple, hail Satan. I loved it.
Yes.
But it did leave me like, oh, it was just a little, okay. It was a little bit cringy, and I do think that that's what they were going for. But nonetheless, they're saying this exemption applies so long as the laws serve no medical purpose and are scientifically inaccurate. Contrary to arbitrary regulations that wrongfully elicit guilt and shame, our ritual is designed to evoke spiritual comfort and confidence upon the abortion procedure's onset, to affirm our beliefs in bodily autonomy and scientifically reasoned personal choice. And again, do your research. Go to the temple's website, look this up, get the facts.
Yes.
A lot of misinformation floating around about there, but educate yourself and then make a decision. I did, and I'm behind this 100%. So they have raised funds to support and uphold the institution of our satanic abortion ritual. These donations will be used to inform members of their religious liberty and to take on the legal challenges of defending our members' rights. I know that they were talking about like a mobile response team of some sorts when, where they can, if someone's experiencing something somewhere in the country, they literally will have a van and a team of people that will go and meet with them and start representing them and maybe even take over full representation.
That is a great thing.
That's a great thing.
Absolutely. I'm really all about that. And for those of you that do get the newsletter and are members, there's a big giant link that says learn more about religious abortions in the monthly newsletter. You should click it. Before you really should.
Yeah, you
should click it.
Yep.
So before we go any further, we are going to take a quick bathroom break. We'll be back, and I think we might have a little Devil's Dictionary to hold you off.
Now it's time to read the Devil's Dictionary. Today's word is coven. Definition of coven: a collection of individuals with similar interests or activities. A coven of intellectuals. An assembly or band of usually 13 witches. Coven used in a sentence. A coven of witches met in the woods at 3 a.m. so they could decide which spells to use to curse their annoying neighbors. My dad traveled to a remote island where he uncovered a coven of witches engaged in outdoor orgies and human sacrifice, and all he brought me back was this stupid t-shirt. That's all, you heathens. We will see you next time on the Devil's Dictionary. Ave Satanas.
All right, welcome back. We're going to finish up with this newsletter real quick. Maybe not real quick. Who knows? We'll see. We are on the section that's called Tenet Study. Now, this tenet study is around every tenet is a guiding principle designed to inspire nobility in action and thought. The spirit of compassion, wisdom, and justice should always prevail over the written or spoken word. Now, coming right out of the newsletter here, I guess I'll take the first one. I'll let Johnny take the second. Often people incorrectly assume the Satanic Temple adheres to the Satanic Bible, or they ask if the Satanic Temple has its own Bible. The presumption that a religion must have a hallowed tome is hardwired for many. While texts of all kind can be illuminating and inspirational, they should never be regarded as sacred. Meanings of words evolve or abruptly change, and the context from when a work was written will influence its concerns in ways that date its intentions, as context is always in flux. Works can have great meaning and speak of many truths that endure, but they must always be open to examination and reconsideration and even revision.
Ideals such as compassion, wisdom, and justice transcend the written word. TST's tenets are inspired by a drive to incrementally approach these ideals. As such, if the language in any of our tenets inhibits progress towards these ideals, then those words should be subject to revision accordingly. The spirit of the tenets and their intent is what matters most, and no one should be obsessively fixate on specific words.
It's coming right from the temple itself.
Yes.
I think I'm glad they put that in there. Mm-hmm. And again, a lot of these temples are open for debate, or not temples, a lot of these tenets are open for debate. A lot of people apply them differently, and that's the beauty of them, I think. And, having good conversations with people that might, take tenet 1 or tenet 2 and have a completely different mindset that I might not think of. That's why I love getting a dialogue about these things.
I think that's great.
So it looks like every newsletter, they're going to come out with a different tenet and kind of dive into it and clear something up and just, kind of dive in and be a little clear on some things. Moving on the newsletter is a work by John S. Hall. It is called On Being Punished. It is a short poem, and I'll give a little background. It says John S. Hall is a poet, spoken word artist, musician, if ukulele counts, and singer-songwriter.
Sure it does.
He has released numerous recordings, including 9 albums with various incarnations of his band King Missile.
Wow.
He is also the author of a collection of poetry, Jesus Was Way Cool, and a self-help parody, Daily Negations, both on Soft Skull Press and over 100 unpublished children's stories. His most recent releases may be found at Here and Here. So his most recent releases, I suggest just Googling John S. Hall or looking him up. Or if you have the newsletter, there are 2 links embedded into his description. So we will go ahead and read his piece.
You want me to do it?
Sure, absolutely. I'm being punished. It's all you.
Maybe I really do need to be punished because there is no justice, and it makes me feel guilty what I get away with. I just got on the scale filled with dread. But after all the outrageous food I ate last night, such an outrageous hour, the scale said 152.4. The lowest number I have seen all year. The least I have weighed in probably 3 years. That is inexplicable and totally unjust. I am full of guilt and shame and a deep desire to be punished. Unless, as is entirely possible, I am, to some degree, overstating. It might depend on what you had in mind.
It's kind of a mind fuck.
Yeah.
It is.
Because now I'm going back and trying to apply overstating. Interesting. I want to read more. It definitely served its purpose.
Sure.
So thank you. Whoever makes this newsletter, I'm glad that this is cool. I'm glad they're putting this stuff in here. I think it progresses nicely. And last but not least, it looks like there is a drawing or a little bit of comic action from Malcolm Jerry. I don't know. What am I looking at? I'm looking at a wolf.
A wolf and 2 sheep.
A wolf in sheep's clothing. Looking at 2 other sheep. And the caption is, I know he wants to eat us, but what really bothers me is the cultural appropriation. Definitely going to share this in the Goat Farm and social media as well. Yes. That is fucking awesome. That's exactly what's happening there.
And that's by Malcolm Jari.
Malcolm Jari. And he made this in 2020. Very new and very applicable to today's climate, political climate, you name it. So that wraps the Satanic Temple September newsletter up. So, and again, if you wanted to refer to anything that we talked about or learn more, either join up with the Satanic Temple and become a member, or if you currently are, just do a little email search and there's some good links in there. There's a holiday coming up, or an observance, I guess I should say. Anybody know what that is?
It is Blasphemy Day.
Blasphemy Day.
A Blasphemy Day.
Blasphemy
Yes.
Day, also known as International Blasphemy Day or International Blasphemy Rights Day.
That sounds right up my fucking alley. I think Belial agrees with me.
Yes.
Yes.
Sounds like he does. And this is celebrated annually on September 30th.
And just in time, this episode, we might be late to class this week. It all depends. But
Right.
This episode will be out before then. So hopefully if people don't know about Blasphemy Day, they'll be able to maybe partake and celebrate it in their own way.
Sure.
So, Johnny, can you tell us a little bit about Blasphemy Day? What exactly is it? Sounds fun.
Oh, I'm sorry. Blasphemy Day, also known as International Blasphemy Day or International Blasphemy Rights Day, educates individuals and groups about blasphemy laws and defends freedom of expression, especially the open criticism of religion, which is criminalized in many countries. Blasphemy Day was introduced as a worldwide celebration by the Center for Inquiry in 2009. Events worldwide on the first annual Blasphemy Day in 2009 included an art exhibit in Washington, D.C., and a free speech festival in Los Angeles, California. And this is from Wikipedia.
Wiki. I'm down. I don't even know if I need to know any more details. I'm celebrating already. Blasphemy Day sounds right up my alley.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's observed by various countries, mostly European and North American. The celebrations, it's educating about the importance of freedom of expression, even opinions contrary to religion or offensive to religious people. The origins, Blasphemy Day is celebrated on September 30th to coincide with the anniversary of the 2005 publication of satirical drawings of Muhammad in one of Denmark's newspapers, resulting in the Jyllands Posten. Am I saying that right?
I think Jyllands Posten or Posten. I would have butchered both of them.
Yeah.
Muhammad's cartoons controversy. Although the caricatures of Muhammad caused some controversy within Denmark, especially among Muslims, it became a widespread forum for Muslim imams in several countries, stirred up violent protests in which Danish embassies were firebombed and over 100 people were killed. Counting the deaths from police opened fire on protesters. The idea to observe an International Blasphemy Rights Day originated in 2009. A student contacted the Center for Inquiry in Amherst, New York, to present the idea, which CFI then supported.
Yeah, I mean, in some countries, you even remotely try to dive in anything like that, you get fucking
remember
killed.
like all that controversy. It was pretty bad. It was all over the news and everything. People being attacked, and it was a shame.
Yeah, so I did a little search, and there I am on Mike.com. It's an article that was posted in 2013. And it says 11 blasphemies to enjoy on International Blasphemy Day.
Outstanding.
Absolutely.
Just 11?
Yeah, just 11. Just 11.
I'm sure there's more.
11 blasphemies. Now, the first one, and again, this is on Mike.com. The article is by Andrea Nika, published September 30th, 2013. Piss Christ. I don't. There's not much else to say it. You're gonna have to.
You can
Google
pretty
it.
much figure out what it is.
Piss Christ is a 1987 photograph by an American artist, Andres Serrano, created from a small plastic crucifix drenched in a glass of the artist's urine. This piece of art was destroyed by Christian protesters in Avignon, France, after weeks of protests in 2011. Serrano claimed that he was making a statement of the misuse of religion. What a statement it was.
Yes.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
Yes.
Now, we were talking about it earlier. This is a funny example of people actually, there's some person out there that would have paid $7.4 million for this thing because they found some crazy, ridiculous hidden meaning.
Yep.
Like, somebody's crazy statement when all it truly was a crucifix and piss.
And piss.
Jeez.
So yeah, check that out. It's pretty interesting. I mean, it's going to Wikipedia. It gives you a little bit more history. But,
Shows the picture too.
It does show
Picture's
the picture.
awesome.
It's you definitely see some of that. What comes out of us when we take piss? Like, is it nitrogen?
Nitrogen.
Little chunks of nitrogen floating around there. Yeah, it's fucking gorgeous. Number 2, Holy Virgin Mary and feces. Now, the Holy Virgin Mary in 1996 by artist Chris O'Philly incorporates elephant dung and visuals of naked bottoms. Manhattan politicians were outraged when it was shown in New York in 1999 as part of Charles Saatchi's Sensation exhibition. Shortly after, it was returned to London. So, again, a nice little internet search. Holy Virgin Mary and feces. A little blasphemy for you right there. And
Or you can just look up the Holy Virgin Mary.
Yes, and apparently that's going to take you right to it. There's a link on here that says Richie Gervais was lied to about God. He's had some interesting fucking God rants, I'm not going to lie. I do enjoy his perspective and his take on a lot of things. It says, according to British comedian Ricky Gervais, Jesus is kind of like an unpaid babysitter to working class moms.
Brilliant.
Fucking it really is. And there's a link on there as well. Once again, Mike.com. Look for this article. Number 4. Did Jesus uncross to the most blasphemous skit in SNL history? So it says, what do you get when you... I'm reading the heading. And again, we had to call an audible on this episode, so this is all new shit to me. I didn't read through most of this. What do you get when the film Django Unchained meets Inglourious Bastards? That's right. Did Jesus uncrossed in this epic blasphemous Saturday Night Live skit? Jesus comes back from the dead and has some business to take care of, killing all the Romans. One commentator posted, seriously, SNL? I'm one of your biggest fans, but you really crossed the line with this. I am thoroughly disgusted.
That means it's brilliant.
Brilliant, yes.
Mission accomplished,
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And historical revenge fantasy, ready to offend.
Yes. He agrees.
He agrees. Number 5, South Park proclaims Muhammad is a bear.
Jesus Christ. What hasn't South Park done?
Right.
That could be all of them.
The depiction of Islam's revered prophet Muhammad as a bear mascot in South Park's 200th episode had angered many Muslims. Back in 2010, a radical Islamic website warned the creators, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, that they risked violent retribution for deeply disrespecting the prophet Muhammad. Geesh, it's a fuzzy, friendly bear. No disrespect.
Jeez.
And again, this is straight out of the article. Those are my words. We watched this earlier.
Yes.
Number 6, Family Guy's I Dream of Jesus.
Love it.
Who wouldn't want Jesus at their dinner table, even if he is a bit of a sexual pervert?
Check it out. It's funny.
Check it
funny
out.
as
It is
hell.
fucking hilarious. Number 7 is Bill Maher's take on religion. I don't like Bill Maher very much. There's been some decent moments on his show. Caption here is, when it comes to exposing religion, Bill Maher always seems to have it covered. Maher says, I can say that because I'm a non-Christian, just like most Christians. And then he goes on to say, Marseille, anti-gay rally in the city of Marseille. And it says that 10 times. So yeah, you might want to watch that, but I haven't seen that one apparently. Number 8, Turkey fines TV station for airing The Simpsons. Turkey's broadcasting regulator fined a television station last year for insulting religious values after it aired an episode of The Simpsons, which shows God being bullied by the devil, and additional religious parodies. Mehmet Mehmet Yilmaz, a columnist for the Hurriyet newspaper in Turkey, comments, I wonder what the scriptwriters will do when they hear that the jokes on their show are taken seriously and trigger fines in a country called Turkey. There's a link to watch the episode there. Another video that, number 9, pastor calls for the burning of the Quran. In 2010, the pastor Terry Jones of a small congregation based in Florida planned an international Burn a Quran Day in protest of the brutality of Islamic law. Number 10, watch Sex and the City's Female Christ. In an episode of Sex and the City, a female Christ painting is shown at an art gallery catered to affluent lesbians, sparking controversy in the episode. Goddess forbid a female die for the world's sins.
Right.
And number 11, Barack Obama's gay blasphemy. Now, during a segment of the Colbert Report, Colbert addressed the inanity?
Yes.
During a segment of the Colbert Report, Colbert addressed the inanity of Obama being gay because he supports gay marriage. Come on, people. Watch the hilarity here. So again, use the internet at your disposal. Look up what we talked about. Those are some ways to celebrate Blasphemy Day. I think we can come up with a couple creative ones on our own.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So again, September 30th, happy Blasphemy Day.
Yes.
We will be coming out with the next episode after that. But hopefully we just taught somebody about Blasphemy Day.
Yes, tell us in the comments how you spent Blasphemy Day.
Hop in the
if you
goat
spent
farm.
it.
Any
Yes.
ideas? Let me know, because I'm not 100% myself.
Right.
All
Definitely.
right. I think it's about time to check out one more episode of the Devil's Dictionary, and personal journey number 2 shall begin.
Yes.
All right.
Now it's time to read the Devil's Dictionary.
Today's second word is infernal. Definition of infernal: of or relating to another world of the dead. Of or relating to hell. Hellish, diabolical. Damnable. An infernal nuisance. Infernal used in a sentence. I'm surprised at the infernal events that unfold and things that are said on this podcast haven't alarmed the FCC. The horned devil took me on an infernal journey through the darkest pits of the underworld. That wraps things up for this week. Ave Satanas, and don't be a dick.
All right, and welcome back. It is time.
I love the Devil's Dictionary, by the way.
Yeah.
Me too. Who doesn't? I haven't gotten one complaint,
No,
except for I'm wrong. 2 complaints.
Really?
Churchy.
Oh, shit. Oh, the music?
How are you gonna? No, not even the music. How are you gonna use your children?
Oh, gosh.
You're
One of
introducing them
those.
to Satan. Like, yeah.
What about the people that introduce their children to Jesus Christ?
Yeah, it's same
But that's okay,
concept,
though.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
It is. But yeah, so no, Devil's Dictionary totally kicks ass.
Yes, it does. And it stays. We don't care what you say.
That's right. Fuck you, haters. Someone just posted a meme that said, fuck you, haters, or something like that. Yeah. I don't know.
Leonardo DiCaprio toasting?
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
So, again, personal journey time. This is our second installment. We have Charmaine with us.
Welcome again.
Thank you for
Yes.
having me. Thank you.
So we met Charmaine through a group, and we came together on a couple of meetups
Yep.
and interacted online and got to know each other a little bit.
Yep.
As did Johnny and
Yes.
Charmaine.
I actually
Yes.
met Charmaine on the Hail Satan night,
Yes.
the movie night.
Yes. We had, if you haven't listened to any of our previous episodes, we had, that's where I met both Johnny and Charmaine for
Yes.
the first time.
Oh, that was your first time too?
My first time.
that was- that was our
we were
first
virgins.
time.
Yeah.
All virgins to each other.
Yes.
So we popped a cherry on the night of Hail Satan.
Nice.
Bravo.
And again, just hosted just a bunch of strangers to come over the house and put that movie out there and
No
create some
fear.
conversation.
Exactly.
It was like, it just connected instantly.
Yeah, it was odd. There was a little bit of a group chat beforehand to ease a little bit of tensions, and then
Yeah.
Yep.
just like that,
Just happened.
I think somebody came over with sex toys too that night. I'm not gonna say any names, but
Really?
What?
I don't remember that.
What?
yeah, there was a mention of
We watched that movie though.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
The Mark Twain thing.
Oh, yeah. Yes, we did.
Yes.
You did. Yeah, we did. Someone came over. I think it was a comment in our group chat, but someone came over with some sex toys
I don't even remember that.
on deck, ready and waiting.
I just remember a big stuffed animal.
I didn't know about it. I didn't know about it the entire time until afterwards, and apparently this box had been sitting on my dining room table the whole night.
What?
Yeah. Oh, then there was that stupid stuffed Pete.
That's what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah, the stuffed Pete. When the thing was okay. It was an interesting night nonetheless. But that's the
It was
night
a
that we all
fun night.
met.
That was a really fun night.
Yes, that was the night that we all met, and I knew that we were on to something. Not with everybody. A couple of people just kind of left and
Yeah,
never
they
saw them
left.
again.
But,
Right.
you know,
But three of us are still going strong. And I'm excited about that because the more I get to know everybody that I've met since becoming a Satanist and involved with the temple, the more I really just get so enveloped in our stories. Because we could fill 2 or 3 hours, a week with just personal journey stories as we get to know each other, and that's when I started to realize like I can connect with so many people on so many different levels. Like not like, oh, I've been through that before,
Right.
but just pain.
Yeah.
Struggle,
Right.
Confusion, fucking, just
Anger.
and then just
Depression.
ascension from religion,
Right.
Like literally ascension, crawling out of that fucking rut where we're believing in that invisible man in the sky.
I think it's great that the Go Farm is actually doing that now too.
It is.
We didn't initiate that in any way. They're just doing it. They're just putting their stories out there, and I think that's fantastic. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what the goat farm is. I mean, people are coming in from all over the world and just briefly introducing themselves or going into depth about their journey, and then just comments left and right. They just start building and compounding, and I haven't, I'm going through some personal stuff right now. I haven't been able to be too involved. But
Right.
You've got our moderators with, and you got John Milton and Manaz and Darren and everybody else.
Darren's he's making himself well known in here. Cat as well.
Big time. Sam's been real active. New member Christina.
Fucking memes.
Yes, if you haven't been on our Goat Farm, you need to
They
check out
get
the
me
meme
through
thread.
the day.
Yes. It is the premier meme thread. Let me tell you, I'm not holding back anymore. There's some fucked up shit on there. And should I put a disclaimer? Not all memes posted by me reflect
Yeah, right.
my
Yeah.
personal views on the world. I just like to fucking laugh.
Veronica's in there too.
Yep, there's Veronica. Oh, yes. I think everybody's seen this. Why is my church closed and the strip clubs are open?
Progress.
Our friends from the Church of Satan. Progress. That was so well done. But yeah, so I'm really excited to see where the goat farm's going, especially when I can't be as involved as I want to be. Charmaine.
Yes. Hello.
Hello. Had a brain fart.
Do that again?
Yes. All right. So we are going to turn things over to Charmaine, and Charmaine, I'm going to kind of lead things with some questions and whatnot for you. But if you can just kind of briefly introduce yourself, who are you?
I am Charmaine, owner of The Bean. I would consider myself a friend of TST. I'm constantly learning, and their ideas are they're resonating with me. Grew up Catholic, didn't buy into any of that shit. I was always the one in school, like, well, why do they have belly buttons, Adam and Eve? And I would get smacked. Shut up. What do you mean? Blasphemy.
That's
Yep.
right. I just saw a meme the other day that said that.
So grew up in Catholic household. I just never really bought into it because my life was so dark, and I just never understood why. Or okay, like you could do something that bad, go to confession, and it's all good,
Sure.
and then you turn around and do the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I struggle with that.
How long were you in the whole Catholic universe?
God, maybe 24 years.
Oh,
Yeah, 24 years.
so you were deep in. Time-wise, at least.
Yeah, 24 years. I mean, it was just as I grew up, Sunday school and all that, confession. And it was just to make my parents happy.
Now, how far did you get into it personally? What was your relationship with God at that point? Was it just kind of like a simple only when family's around type deal, or did you actually have a personal relationship with him
I
while you were in
never
there?
had a personal relationship because growing up, I grew up at my grandmother's house, but she didn't live there. She owned a property. And all my aunts and uncles lived there, but it was basically a crack house. So a lot of stuff happened, and I knew God didn't exist. It's like I would pray, can you please stop this from happening? Never stopped.
And then all the bullshit that
All the bullshit.
just canvassed through your eyes
Absolutely.
over and over.
That seems to be a recurring theme I see a lot
Yeah.
when people are telling their stories about how they turned to Satanism,
Yeah.
Roman Catholicism.
Yeah.
It
Oh
seems
my
to be
God.
a recurring item that
Yeah.
everybody talks about.
Yeah.
Now, did you go to church?
I did.
What was your experiences at church? Like, did you have a role, or were you just sitting there with your family?
I was just sitting there with my family looking around at people. I got to take, what was it called? The gifts when you bring the wine and the body of Christ up.
Okay.
And I would walk up there and hand it to them and just look at them like, this is stupid.
So even participating in it, you still had that negative sentiment.
No,
You're just,
I've shown up to church drunk.
That sounds like fun.
Speaking of Blasphemy Day,
I showed up drunk, and I remember sitting there with my mom and my sisters. I had on red sunglasses, a Manson shirt, and I'm sitting there. And she's like, you got to go up for communion. And I remember I was really loud. Like, I'm not going up there. It was one of the things. Yeah, I just never gravitated toward
So you
it.
never once gave this a thought. You never once said, okay, you know what? I'm going to give it a chance. And
Yeah.
I'm going to try. That never
No.
happened.
Never happened for me. My sister has just found, I guess, God. And she gets real preachy, and I'm just like, dude, I don't want to hear that. But I mean, if it works for some people, great.
Oh,
Sure.
absolutely,
Yeah.
that's exactly my view.
Just not for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, I know as we talked to Allie and as we got to know each other as we're going through the podcast and everything, what happens to us as a child, whether it's our experience with religion or just experiences in general with parents, relationships with other family members, friends. What was life like for you overall? I know you did mention, you're experiencing and what you said was the crack house and
Right.
everything. And it's whatever you're comfortable talking about that. But
No.
overall, how did that progress as far as things like that and other aspects of your life that helped mold you as far as your journey through like your teenage years?
I think if I didn't go through all the bad shit, I wouldn't be the strong person I am today. Like I said, I grew up in a crack house. A lot of things happened to me. I was used as currency to pay for their drugs. And I got touched by everybody. Male, female, didn't matter. Either that or, being abused physically and just kind of left alone to raise myself.
Right.
And then when my mom got pregnant with my sisters, that's when like mom mode kicked in. And I'm like 7 or 8, raising newborns, making sure nobody comes in there to look at them, to, touch them or pick them up.
Absolutely.
So I'm like a bodyguard at 7, but I think it really shaped me to the person that I am now. Because like I could go through the darkest stuff, but I know I'm always going to come out clean.
Now, was it the relationships that you built with your brothers and sisters that helped pull you out of, everything that you were experiencing at the time? Was there something else that helped you get through? It sounds like from one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
I know some people can just flick the switch if
Yeah.
the right thing happens at the right time.
Right.
But was there anything else that kind of assisted you in that process?
No, it just happened that way. Definitely my love for my siblings. I've always been like the protector. I know I look like it, kind of badass.
I wouldn't fuck with you.
Yeah, but inside, and that's the thing. Like I've always been told that you look so hard on the outside, but inside I'm a cookie.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm just if you could look inside, you will see a lot of stuff. But then it's you also develop that thing you don't want people to know that part of you. Growing up in situations like that, there's almost like a shame, and it's like, well, what did I do to cause this? And I can remember, going to mass and having conversations with, with priests or whatever. And they're like, well, can't be that bad. But meanwhile, you're doing the same shit. You know, so it's like, and then as you get older, it's like, how can you stand behind something like that that allows that to happen? You know, it just seems, and then it's all controlling.
Absolutely,
You
yeah,
know,
without a
and
doubt.
they just put fear in you.
Now, did you see, what role did religion play in, your parents' lives or you friends and family? Was there people in your family that took it super serious?
Not that I recall. My mom became very religious when she got sick, and she started going to church and dragging us to church, and I was just like, why is this happening? Once again,
I find that a lot. A lot
Yeah.
of people that I talk to, when people refine religion, is when the end is near.
when the end is
Absolutely,
near.
yep.
Right.
Or in jail.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Prison.
repent. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Your situation becomes completely out of your control.
Right.
And then, we kind of go to anything that helps us make sense of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Which sucks because that's just how we're programmed.
Right.
Fucking bullshit.
Right.
We talked about what life was like as a child. 24 years in the Catholic Church or as a Catholic.
24.
We all
We should say fake Catholic.
fake Catholic.
I was faking it till I make it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
Guilt by association
Yeah.
for 24 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can roll with that. What was the aha moment? Whether it was just with the religion in general, the Catholic Church, God.
Mm-hmm.
What was the aha moment when you were like, wait,
Right.
this is fucked. Something's not jiving here.
I would have to say my aha moment was the first time I saw Hail Satan, and it just resonated with me. Everything that they were saying, everybody, different aspects, different walks of life, and it just made more sense. And I was just like, oh, let me look into this. But I think that's when it was. I mean, because I've never really had a relationship with organized religion,
Right.
so it was just like, well, this seems more for me.
What about the movie? Actually, before I say that, did you have any exposure to the Satanic Temple before you saw Hail Satan?
I've heard of them, but didn't really start getting into them until afterwards. I've heard of Lucian, read a couple of his pieces that he put out. That was it, yeah. And then when I saw the movie, I was just like blown away.
Yeah, it's exactly what happened to me. It sealed the deal.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was a great movie. And I will say, anybody who is confused about what Satanism is, being a Satanist, watch it, because you always get put into this category of, all right, well, we're going to sacrifice babies and all that shit. And it's totally not what it is.
And that's the thing. And that's one of the reasons why I love talking about this and using the podcast as a platform, because when I tell somebody I'm Satanist, just like one or two things happen, just like you said.
Yeah.
I'm either a Levian Satanist.
Yep.
From the early 70s, and I'm doing crazy ritualistic stuff, and
Right.
I'm reading excerpts out of the Satanic Bible every day. Or on the complete extreme side of that is, like you said, I'm eating babies and
Right.
sacrificing and drinking blood and
Yeah.
and doing all this crazy hardcore occult devil worship shit.
Right.
You talk about the temple, and I guess that's one of the reasons why the first question's anybody. Why do you even use Satan then?
Yeah.
Yep.
And again, that's available.
I
We've
had
gone
that
all over
question. I've had it when I first started learning about it. I'm like, well, why?
Yeah, what's the point in even doing that? Is
Right.
it just to be a troll? Is
Right.
It, yep.
Yeah. So,
It's flipping Christianity right upside down,
Right.
and using that imagery. And you can go right into the satanictemple.com and look in their FAQ section. There's a good description straight from the temple themselves as to why the temple uses Satan and why modern Satanism uses Satan and what Satan means to us. So we talked about the aha moment. Outside of, the obvious, you talked about some pretty harsh conditions growing up. Were there any other challenges that you faced growing up as you became a woman in regards to, kind of key moments that help define who you become?
absolutely. For one, growing up in a crack house, you see people high all the time. I've never done crack, but everything else under the sky, I've done. I've tried, except for meth. But then it all ties into, I guess, what we were talking about earlier with genetics. Like, does it get passed down?
Mm-hmm.
So I've done the drugs. I've done being promiscuous because I thought that was the only way I could get attention or to be loved.
Right.
Was to allow, it's not bad behavior because it was kind of fun growing up. But
Of course it would.
it was kind of fun, but it's like, and you use that, until somebody tells you, that's not normal. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, it's normal for me. So being promiscuous, I was suicidal after my mom died. Because when she got sick and when she started going to church, she would drag us. And it was like, if she really believed in this, like, why didn't it work? And I became super depressed. And I think I tried to commit suicide twice. Didn't work, so I'm here for a reason. So you can't get rid of me that easy.
Damn straight.
But yeah, I just think I'm not embarrassed, nor do I dwell on it. I think everything that you go through defines the person that you're going to ascend to.
Definitely.
So.
No, well said.
Yeah.
Now, when you were going to church,
Mm-hmm.
with your family.
Yes.
Now, was this just like a facade you would put on to maybe, make your mom happy?
Absolutely. I wanted her to be happy. I didn't want her to worry about anything, and she knew I didn't dig it, but anything to bring her comfort at that time and bring her peace. A lot of things that I went through as a child, I never told her.
Right.
Even on her deathbed. Like, I never told her.
I mean, I can totally relate. Like, I mean, going through what I'm personally going through now, if my dad were to be like, come to church with me on Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, without a fucking question.
Yeah.
I'll go sit up. I'll even sing hymnals with you.
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to make you happy.
Exactly.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I can definitely relate to that.
All right. So obviously, if this is out of line,
No.
let me know.
You can't
Bill
be out of line
Bill
with
can
me.
edit it. But obviously, you like the women.
I like them all.
So would that be something that your mom maybe would have subjected against? Or
No.
was she okay with it?
Well, my mom, growing up, we were back and forth from Philly to California. And they would host parties at our house. Like, I remember, what was the guy's name? Andy Gibb, one of the Gibbs brothers.
Okay.
He used to come over all the time.
Wow.
Coke laid out, whatever.
Nice.
But it was just, I don't know. Like, I've seen a lot. So it was just like, okay, it was normal. I do remember, funny story, when we lived in LA, when Richard Ramirez was out there doing this thing and he killed somebody down the street from our house. And I remember like being walked to school, locked the windows and all that shit. And then like my brother was like, I thought I saw him in our backyard.
Oh, shit.
Scared me to death. And I'm just like, all right. But I think I was like 5 or 6. But like as I grew up, and then he was a Satanist, wasn't he?
Yes.
I believe so. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, he just misunderstood. He was the craziest shit though.
Yeah, it was.
I just enjoy it. And then like with my mom, I do remember, if I'm not mistaken, I'm sorry if any of my family is listening, but like she had girlfriends. Like she was out there, like 80s style, let's do some coke, get fucked up and party.
Right. Yeah.
Nice.
So I saw a lot of things, but I definitely think it shaped me because as well as the women in my family, like never get married, have fun, have as many partners as you want.
Right.
So it's like growing up, all right, that's the thing to be.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't even think we mentioned this at all, but so Charmaine she mentioned she was friendly with the temple, and I believe she touched on the fact that she is a witch.
I am.
And that is one of the most intriguing things that inspired me to involve Charmaine in the podcast right before we were even a podcast. Mm-hmm. There were 2 things that Charmaine wanted to sign up for, and that was the witchcraft episode and the sex episode.
Yes.
Absolutely. Sign me up. I'm there.
Beyond those 2, she's like, I don't care what else you do, but make sure when you do those, I am there.
A lot of rituals incorporate sex.
Yes.
Sex is almost viewed as an offering.
Mm-hmm.
So the more you have it, the greater you are.
Fantastic. Well said. I am in complete agreement. So on that topic, when were you first introduced to the occult or witchcraft?
Well, growing up, I grew up in a Spanish household. So you will hear about Santeria, all these different like voodoo things, never leave your hair laying around. And I'm like, well, why would they say that? Growing up, I was always like, as a little girl, even as a kid, you would take dirt and leaves and mix it up or what have you. And then as I got older, I just started reading books, watching different movies, seeing stuff on TV. And I'm like, well, that's cool. Let me look into this and see what it is. And never been to New Orleans. I plan to get down there. Like the witch trials.
Yep.
That really, I was like, well, this is interesting. Like, what would cause such a stir? So.
Were that many lives and
exactly.
all that crazy shit. Yeah,
and it's still going the fuck on.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's the satanic panic, just like we were talking about.
Yeah.
It's still to this day. And
to this day.
It's fucking ridiculous.
It is.
So you mentioned books. Were there any books that you can remember that maybe turned you on or garnished your interest and kind of made you want to take it to the next level?
The book on Wicca with Gerard, I can't remember his name now. Fuck. He started Wicca in the 50s. I read that book. It's A Witch's Bible. I read that and had all these like weird like 70s pornographic pictures in there about rituals. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah.
Interest of too.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
And I'm reading, I'm like, okay, this is cool. And then, of course, you get like the movies. I grew up in the 80s, so it's like, Witches of Eastwick and all that. There's so many, I can't remember. But seeing that, I was just like, let me check this out.
Attention staff and students. This is your principal with your daily update. The Satanic Study Hall podcast is not affiliated with any other podcast or organization. None. Zero. The views and opinions expressed on the podcast are ours and ours alone. Dennis Cruson, your little surprise didn't detonate. The police are on their way. Enjoy juvie, asshole. Today's lunch is whatever was left over from yesterday's lunch. May the odds be ever in your favor. And that's all for today's announcements. Hail Satan.
All right, so we talked a little bit about your introduction to the occult and whatnot. Obviously, you are a witch now, and I did a little research. I got a little confused, so I'm going into this a little
now
blind.
You know why I'm leaning toward TSC.
Yes, oh, absolutely. And I did get a little confused, not because of things I didn't understand or anything of that. It's just that I started getting confused with white, black, and gray. Now I understand it. But as far as, but then you have to factor in left hand, right hand, path.
The path, yeah.
And then all of that. So, again, I try to jump into it, but getting to know you, now you're a gray witch, correct?
I am a gray witch.
Now, before we jump into like the definition of that, so can you maybe shed some light in like the difference between white, black, and gray and kind of where people kind of land as far as, their paths?
Absolutely. White witches are about construction. Black witches are all about destruction, and grays play in the middle. We do both.
If I were a white witch, what were some of the things that I would focus on as far as actions or spells or intent?
Definitely aspirations. You would do things to benefit you, benefit the world, the environment, put out spells and do rituals that will basically enlighten everything. It's all good.
Okay.
When you practice being a white witch.
Article that I used for some research was was October 5th, 2019 by Megan Winkler. The website, it might be Inked Goddess Creations, and that's what's at the top of this.
Okay, I think I've read there.
Yeah.
Before.
So it says in white magic often relies on natural magic, like you said, that is magic from the world around us. There's an ideal of harmony inherent to the practice, though, to do good always,
right,
or to use your magic in a positive way. And it's the positive energy influx that makes white magic what it is.
Right, to harm none.
So is that where, I would assume that would be where most people start?
That's where they start at.
Okay.
And then you get into it, and then, well, for me, for my journey, I got bored. I'm like, well, let's crank it up a little bit. Let's see what black magic is doing. And you have a high priestess that I came in contact with. Her name was Elle. She since passed away. And she was basically, I would have tons of questions, and she would answer them. And I'm like, all right, well, it's kind of boring to me. And she's like, you don't want to play with black magic. And I'm like, well, why not? And it all comes back to almost like karma. You get it back threefold. I have a lot of people come up to me well, can you do a money spell on me? Can you make me, more successful? And it's like, I sure can. But if your intentions aren't good, you're getting in a messed up way.
Exactly.
So it's like it's a lot of discipline. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna learn some black magic. I'm gonna see what's up with it. And a lot of times that I found when you do practice black magic, people always associate it with Satanism.
Oh yeah.
Always. They're like, why are you doing that? You're doing the devil's work. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like,
Well, didn't Anton LaVey called a lot of the stuff that he would do black magic?
exactly.
And whatnot, and it had a completely different meaning.
exactly.
Well, not completely, but in some ways.
Yeah. So, I dabbled in black magic. I have. I'm sorry, but I have. I actually, this is so fucked up. It was, it was a girl that I know, and that's where I'm going to leave it at. And she was a fucking bitch. She was a mean girl, and she talked about everybody. Like, she didn't have a nice thing to say about anything. The good news fucking bear is what we called her. And I was, she came up to me and she was like, yeah, Charmaine's this, that, and the third. She, did you know she's a witch or whatever? And she resembles one, or,
Some major
all this
personal
shit.
blows.
Yeah, like Charmaine's a hoe. Everybody knows I'm a hoe. Like,
Yeah, right. You're trying to insult me. Do
yeah,
better.
I'm like, okay, and like, and certain things she would say, I'm like, I'm going to fix this broad. So I did my research, picked up a spell, went to a local shop on South Street, actually, and they have all these different ingredients that you would use. And I went there and got everything together. And the first rule of magic is never perform magic when you have hate in your heart. Never do it. But, I was mad.
Exactly.
So, I'm doing the ritual. I'm saying everything, I'm checking my notes and everything's good. I cast a spell. And I just wanted her just to have the worst luck, to wreak havoc in her life. And damned if it didn't happen. And it scared the shit out of me.
Like how? Like, how did it happen?
Oh, God. She totaled her car, flipped her, like a brand new car. Totaled it. Lost her job. She got herpes. Hair was falling out and shit. And then, like, a good friend of mine came up to me and he was like, yo, what did you do? Did you have anything to do with that? I'm like, no.
Or someone actually tried to call you out. And
Absolutely.
Because it was just not just a coincidence.
It was out of the norm. Like, and what happened was she came up to the person that questioned me. It was like, did somebody put like a fucking curse on me or something? And then he was like, aha, Charmaine did it.
Oh, shit.
So he came up to me, did you? I'm like, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
So that idea was actually flattered in front of her as well.
Exactly.
Like, she actually considered maybe you actually...
Yeah.
Wow.
That there was a curse put on her. I don't know where she's at now, but I hope it wore off.
I was going to say, did that curse have some kind of a timeline?
Yeah, and
like
I remember
an expiration
I
date?
called the high priestess and I asked her, I'm like, dude, when does this shit end? Like, she was like, well, did you put like a time limit on it? I'm like, no. She's like, it hasn't run out. I'm like, fuck. Well, what's my karma? She's like, you don't have no karma. And I'm like, well, why not? And she's like, because you were protecting yourself. You were protecting your name. So if you did that with all the intentions in your heart, you don't have to worry about anything.
So it wasn't necessarily ill-willed based on your emotions
Exactly.
because she was defaming you.
Exactly.
Okay. I get that.
Yeah.
So more about black magic. Back to the article I was referring to. Just like everything else in this world, as above, so below. In the magical world, there is always balance. If white magic is the practice of manipulating energy for positive outcomes, then black magic is the practice of manipulating energy for negative outcomes.
Yes.
The intention of black magic is generally to cause harm, either as the result of the spell or practice, or during the ritual or practice performed to raise darker energy. These are done through hexes and curses. Magic practitioners generally accept the rule of 3, which says that whatever energy you put out into the world comes back to you. It doesn't necessarily mean that the exact same thing you curse someone else with will happen to you 3 times back, but it does mean that you'll be attracted negative energies far more easily in your life.
Absolutely. That also is very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you open yourself up to a lot of things. And, a lot of negativity can attach to you. That is very true.
So with white being what we talked about, with the black magic being the darker, more hexes and curses and darker energy type deals, tell me more about gray magic.
Gray magic is the in between. You could perform both. So I could do a ritual, like for instance, when I had the surgery, I was really down. I couldn't meditate and all that. I couldn't get my own. Couldn't do that. But I did a cleansing ritual to release all the negative energy that was on me. Because it was hard. It was like you can't get up, you can't do shit. Your mind starts to race, and you're just like, what the fuck? But I did do a cleansing ritual, and after that, it helped. At least it tricked my mind, maybe, to help in me. But I'm like, oh, I feel great.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes isn't that all that matters at the end of the?
It is. What I mean? How you feel.
How you feel, like the feeling you get when you look yourself in the mirror.
Exactly.
Or when you lay your head down on your pillow at the end of the night. That are you content or not?
Right.
And if you're not content, you have some fucking work to do.
You have work to do.
But if you're content, you know what? Job well done.
Yeah.
Do it all over again tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And keep the train moving forward.
Keep it pushing.
So, and again, once a little bit of reference here, and it's pretty much everything that you just said. Gray magic is referred to as the grade in between. Gray magic practices spells for self-improvement or life improvement, but they also make sure they aren't messed with by others on an energetic level. It's a don't fuck with me type. I can go both ways type of deal. I go both ways.
Like you don't want to poke the bear. But it's what's also interesting is I'm seeing an influx of people learning magic, practicing it. I mean, it's being put out there on the mainstream, like you said, Sabrina, with the movies, The Craft, and everything like that. But then you get a lot of younger people, or what was the other show, Coven from American Horror Story?
Yep.
Everybody was like, "Oh, let me try this out." It's like you cannot play with that shit.
Yeah. And even The Witch. Did you see The Witch?
I did. Yeah, a fantastic movie.
The Satanic Temple actually came behind it and promoted it. I'm not sure if they had a portion of production or anything, but that movie was fucking fantastic.
It was brilliant.
And these movies kind of, again, they're keeping everything relevant. They all tell their own tale, but they're all still kind of part of this modern satanic panic too.
Right.
As educational and as awesome as these movies may be from an entertainment standpoint, it's keeping that vibe alive.
Exactly.
And keeping it almost tangible.
I think it's the mystery of it, the not knowing if it's real or not. Like, does this really work? Until you flip somebody's car and give them herpes. And you're like, oh shit.
Let me clear my headspace real quick. So I guess something's coming back to me in threes now. All right, someone tally it. Let's keep track of this shit. So besides that shit, the herpes car wreck curse, the herpes car wreck curse, have there been any other activities you've been a part of, either personally or socially, rituals or anything that you participated in?
I have not. I, for one, do not adapt to the fact of being in a coven because of the hierarchy. I never agreed to that. I don't like the idea of somebody being above me telling me what to do or how I should conduct myself when I perform my magic. So I've always been, I'd practice alone. I'm better focused. It's not a lot of distractions. I've seen rituals when there's women dancing in the woods, and that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Dancing in the woods, how do you enter the circle? Perfect love, perfect trust. That is all very, very real. I haven't participated in that.
Okay.
So I do stuff solo, and I don't do it very often, but whenever, say, like from my childhood, if a trigger comes up and I need to bring myself peace, I'll perform a ritual.
Oh, so you do it when it needs to be done.
Exactly, I do it when it needs to be done.
No, that's the way to do it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It sounds like
do it the way it needs to be done, baby.
Yeah, and that's right. Just do it.
That was the Bean talking.
No, it's right in line with everything that we were talking about as far as gray magic and gray witch mentalities there. Again, and I wanted to end this too because when I was reading about gray magic, it said, intention is 100% of magic. Mm-hmm. So by defining your intentions, you are defining the type of magic you wish to practice. Always keep that in mind.
Always.
I found that idea.
Always, you gotta put it, be specific.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to like, okay, I want this, that, I want money. And then like your mom will die and you'll get life insurance.
Yep.
You have to be very particular about what you want. Don't play with that.
Yeah, there's shit at stake there. They're really, you know what I mean?
You don't play with it because it's funny, and like when I'm learning about the TST, I was kind of like struggling with that because I know like the supernatural isn't a thing. And then I'm just like, well, you guys got me there.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I guess if it works for some people, but with TST, they don't judge you either. Yeah.
Hosting this podcast and being a part of whatever Satanic Study Hall is has been fucking amazing. I have had
incredible.
Some of the most insightful conversations and interactions with some of the most genuine, driven, hilarious fucking
Absolutely.
people that have motivated me, that, whether it's feedback or just telling me their story or thanking us for providing an avenue or a community with the goat farm.
Right.
Like it's unbelievable.
It's growing, man.
But it's really humbling. And,
it is.
And with the community piece, and I started to learn that there wasn't that hard line. All these people that I've met were, TST member, LaVeyan tendencies,
right?
Or TST member, Wiccan,
right?
And then it was hard for me at one point. It was like, all right, well, how are we going to get to that point where you're a member of the temple and you have to accept the tenets, obviously, because that's the driven piece of everything. You believe in the supernatural. And as I researched it and got to know people and talk to people, it became less and less of that, deal breaker.
Right.
So ending this awesome fucking conversation that we've had, and it feels like it's been a lot of peaks and valleys.
It's been up and down. It's been good. Little bit of therapy.
And it's full of healing, for sure.
It is.
Even looking at you right now, you know what I mean? You've had a rough couple of weeks.
I had a rough couple of weeks, and it's like, when I get around my family, it's just all that stuff goes out the window. It's the best medicine.
I love it.
The best.
So what is your favorite tenet?
Oh, darling, I have it right here. It says one body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone. And I love that because growing up in church, your body is your temple. Don't mistreat it. No tattoos, no piercing, no sex. And then as I grew up, I'm like a fucking carnival. It's like a carnival to me. I'm having a blast. I'm finally getting to enjoy life, being able to let go of all the hangups. Because growing up, you kind of use stuff. You use it as a crutch for, bad behavior, or, you do something wrong and it's like, oh, well, it was because of this. And it's like, no, man, let that shit go. It's in the past. Just live for today.
Can't argue with that.
Hell no.
Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on today.
Thank you for having me, man.
This has been fucking awesome. Hopefully you can still hang out with me for a few more minutes as I run through our social media here. But again, Charmaine is in the goat farm. She is easily accessible. If you're comfortable with it, I know you've been rather popular anywhere you go.
Anywhere. It's weird.
She develops a rather big fan club. Yes.
The pheromones get released. The bean.
Hey, whatever works, right? But definitely, you'll find Charmaine in the goat farm. So reach out, say hello. We'll see what goes from there. But
absolutely.
After talking about the goat farm, I've already explained that a few more times prior, so I'm not going to really say that. All I'll say is join it and search for it on Facebook if you haven't been able to find it.
Join us.
The Facebook page is simply Satanic Study Hall. That's the main Satanic Study Hall page. You're going to find excerpts and little audio clips from certain episodes, some of which never make it to the podcast. I got to edit a lot of shit out. Y'all would be surprised at some of the shit that flies out of our mouth. And I promise our patrons, you are going to get a fucking blooper reel. And here's some of what I just referred to. It's unreal. I have physically pissed myself. Speaking of piss Jesus earlier, yeah, I physically pissed myself listening to the bloopers. It's unreal. So look forward to that, patrons. Instagram, at Satanic Study Hall. Dennis likes to post behind the scenes pictures when we record. He's also got we've also got Belial the Baphomet, who's joined us. And if you follow us on social media, you know exactly who I'm talking about. But if you haven't met Belial, he is here. Belial, do you want to say hello?
My man.
All right, perfect. Yeah, that's about all we get here out of Belial. That's good enough. On Twitter, we are at Satanic SH. Now, that's both S's and H and the H are capitalized. It does make a difference. So at capital S, Satanic, and then capital SH. You'll find us on there. I'm starting to dabble in Twitter a little bit more than I used to.
I can't get into it, man.
It's not an engine that I've ever really been down with. Retweets, likes, posts.
Right.
I don't know. I miss MySpace.
Oh, MySpace was cool. Remember, you could decorate your page and like make it cool.
I think I even might have said this before, but I don't give a shit. I'll repeat myself. Like the background music.
Oh, hell yeah.
And you could put little
playlists.
The backgrounds, your top 8.
Yeah.
Remember the top 8?
The top 8.
And then how pissed people would be when you'd move them off your top 8 or the order.
Oh my God.
If your number 3 became your number 5.
Yeah.
Because you met somebody cool at the bar and wanted to impress them. So you upgraded their status in your top 8. Oh, I fucking miss MySpace. Still around, but I think it's just for musicians. And then, of course, you can find us on Patreon. Patreon.com/Satanic Study Hall. Charmaine's been with us on Patreon for a while.
Yes.
And thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.
And thank you to everybody else that's been involved with the Patreon journey. We do owe you a Patreon bonus episode, and that will be coming soon. And it's not going to be the blooper reel. That's going to be bonus. But one, I'm going to give you this episode early as soon as it's done being edited.
Nice.
And 2, there will be a pop-up episode coming. Ooh. Now, have you gotten all your merch? You got your shirt?
I did not,
right,
I got like my books and the stickers I'm leaving around town.
All right, perfect. Yes, I remember seeing that.
They hate me.
So let's talk about our patrons. We have some new patrons that have joined us since the last time we were on air and put out a new episode. Those patrons are Shayna, Brandon, and Sam.
Welcome.
So to the 3 of you, welcome. Like I said, I've been sitting on my ass a little bit, but I promise you there's a reason. There's some things that are coming your way as far as more content and things to keep you entertained in between our 2-week stretches of episodes that we put out. And as promised, we're going to shout out our VIP patrons as well. We're going to start this time with our special friend. Our special friend supports the podcast. We all know him, but he wants to remain behind the scenes.
And that is fine.
And a behind the scenes supporter is a valuable supporter nonetheless. So thank you, special friend.
Thank you.
We appreciate you being here and for being on this journey with us. Then we have Manaz. Manaz the left. I've been saying Manaz ever since I met you, but Dennis says Manaz. So if you can correct me somehow, some way, I'm sure you will as soon as you hear this. Hit me up and let me know. But Manaz is one of our VIPs. He's very active in the goat farm, super active in the goat farm.
Yes.
And we love all of his input and all the stuff that he's been doing to keep content moving and the train moving forward. And then we have Alex. Alex. Hail thyself.
Yes.
Just not much I can say outside of stay strong, brother. We're here for you whenever you need us. And thank you for your support. Mm-hmm. Alex was our first VIP patron. And he's going to continue to be a part of everything, no matter what.
Fantastic.
And then we've also got Misty's Coventry, or Sean. Misty's Coventry is going to be our next business spotlight on the goat farm and with Satanic Study Hall. I believe it's a retailer shop that sells things right up the Satanic Alley. I've been in contact with Sean. So Sean, thanks for being here.
Take my money, Sean.
I will definitely be hitting you up with a little bit of a information gathering mission so we can put that business spotlight together. Beyond that, we did mention the Baphonets. So there is an ever-growing family that's happening on the goat farm and on Instagram with our Baphonets. And I'm saying Baphonets as Baphonits.
Very nice.
Belial here is a knit Baphomet doll.
He's everywhere.
Belial's been all over Philadelphia.
All over.
And Belial has a growing family.
Yes.
So a lot of our members of the goat farm, I believe there's 3 to 4 other ones, have ordered brothers, sisters, and family members and extended family for Belial. So that's going to continue to grow. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, one of our goat farm members is going to try to take over some local production of that. So if we imagine if we had like 24 Baphonets running around, with like a different
Just popping
backstory.
up, yeah.
Like we should animate that shit and make some money.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you, fuck it.
100%.
Let's do like a comic book or something for the Baphonets.
Fuck yeah.
We're on to something.
Telling you.
Nobody steal that shit from me.
No.
I'll research that shit every day. If someone yanks that before I patent it,
And I know black
we
magic.
got beef. Yes, and Charmaine's got me on the black magic side. So don't fuck with us. No, we're kidding. So yeah, more on the Baphonets on social media. Look out for that. Now, obviously, I want to shout out what we like to call our goaties in the goat farm, our friends over at Love City Satanists. Big shout out to Satanic Temple, New York City. They've been really interactive with us and supportive with us on social media.
Nice.
So thank you so much. I'm sure they've got some good things brewing once as we progress through the COVID-19 stuff. So thank you very much for that. I want to say hello to Richie. We got to see Richie the other night. So Richie and his shop, which is Rock and Roll Knife Fight, it's in Lansdowne, Pennsylvania. Sells all types of shit. Vinyl, satanic patches, and occult band type stuff. You name it. Lots of serial killer merchandise.
It's awesome.
You can find Richie at RR Knife Fight, and I'm saying at as an @ RR Knife Fight on most social media, or you can go to rrknifefight.com. What's up, Richie? Keep doing your damn thing. The next person I want to thank is everybody that takes the time out of their busy week and their schedule away from their families or just to relax and hang out with us for a couple hours every few weeks. It means the world to us.
Yeah.
The download count, the support, the Patreon growth, the feedback, and just the support from our family members.
Yeah.
That are that aren't able to harass us for 4 to 10 hours a week as we research and produce this show. Everybody that's in the behind the scenes and everybody listening, it's fucking awesome. Just keep it up. We promise to keep giving you the best content that we can give you. We're having a blast doing this. Is there anybody that you want to mention? Say hello to, Charmaine. Shout out.
Any shout outs? No, man. Just respect the bean.
Always respect the bean.
Always respect the bean.
And if you don't know what the bean is,
I will show you.
that's not the direction I thought I was going with that one. But I'll fucking take it. She'll show you.
I'll show you.
Slide into her DMs.
Exactly. Please do.
All right. So we are going to make up for calling the audible of this episode. And I don't believe this was a mistake at all. This was meant to happen. I had a great fucking time.
It was awesome.
I had a great fucking time. Thank you for being here. I hope Johnny's having a good time at his backyard wrestling fiasco. I hope it comes to fruition.
Yeah.
He's wasting a lot of time getting tossed through tables and wrestling these people in their underwear.
Yeah.
So good luck, Johnny. But beyond that, we will jump back in. West Memphis 3, Satanic Panic Part 2 is coming.
Fantastic.
Eventually. We'll get there. We're going to do it some justice. And again, thank you everybody for your support and for being here in class with us this week. Big Ave Satanas. Thanks for being here.